What if General George Custer survived Little Bighorn in 1876, captured and spared by Sitting Bull's warriors, forced to face his enemy's truth? A broken ring, a torn letter, a war charm, a burned map, a tattered flag, a beaded pouch, a final plea, relics whisper of pride, regret, and redemption, per the last stand and bury my heart at wounded knee. Could Custer rise as a voice against conquest or remain its tool? Join Wild West Chronicles to unravel a saga where history bends and consciences break. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the blood-soaked plains of Little Bighorn, where in June 1876, General George Custer's 7th Cavalry met a Sioux and Cheyenne storm, yet, in this tale, he survives, wounded and captured, facing a reckoning with Sitting Bull, per the last stand. What if Custer lived to confront his enemy? Could a man of ambition become a voice of atonement? A broken ring will spark questions. Let's rewrite history's script. On June 25, 1876, Custer led 650 men toward the Little Bighorn Valley, chasing glory after a humiliating rebuke in Washington, per Philbrick. I imagine myself among his 260 troopers, dust choking my lungs, as he split his forces, Major Reno to hit the villages south, Captain Benteen to flank west, and Custer to strike north, per the last stand. Crow scouts warned of 10,000 Lakota and Cheyenne, but Custer, eyes blazing, dismissed them, per bury my heart at wounded knee. His charge faltered, warriors led by Crazy Horse swarmed, cutting down 200 men, per the original narrative. Custer, shot in the shoulder, collapsed but was spared, dragged to Sitting Bull's camp, per our what-if scenario. I found a cracked ring, engraved, Pride's Fall, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near Custer Hill, it stunned historians. A Lakota elder whispered, it bound his fate. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about survival. Would Custer repent or cling to pride? What did Pride's fall foretell? Whose mercy spared him? Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of survival and showdown. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the smoky confines of a Lakota camp, where in June 1876, General George Custer, wounded and captured after Little Bighorn, grappled with fear, pride, and the shadow of his defeat, per the last stand. Last time, we saw his shattered charge, marked by a cracked ring, Pride's Fall, per bury my heart at wounded knee. Today, we explore Custer's captivity, his inner turmoil, and the looming confrontation with Sitting Bull, per our what-if scenario. A torn letter will spark questions. Let's delve into his fractured soul. On June 26, 1876, Custer awoke in a Lakota tent, his shoulder throbbing from a bullet wound, his 7th Cavalry decimated, 268 men dead, per Philbrick. I imagined myself as a silent observer, watching Custer, his golden hair matted, eyes darting like a caged wolf, per speculative accounts. The Sioux and Cheyenne, led by Sitting Bull, spared him for reasons unclear, perhaps to barter, perhaps to judge, per bury my heart at wounded knee. Custer, once brash, now whispered of failure to a Crow scout, spared alongside him, per our narrative. He scribbled a letter to his wife Libby, torn in rage, never sent, per speculative oral traditions. Outside, warriors chanted victory, their voices a reminder of his missteps, ignoring scouts, splitting his force, per the last stand. I found fragments of that letter, marked, Regret's Cry, per speculative accounts. Unearthed in 2024 near the Little Bighorn camp, it stunned historians. A Cheyenne elder whispered, it carried his shame. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about Custer's heart. Could captivity break his arrogance? What did Regret's Cry confess? Whose judgment would he face? Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of captivity and reckoning. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the tense heart of a Lakota camp, where in June 1876, a wounded General George Custer, captive after Little Bighorn, faced Sitting Bull in a clash of words that could reshape his soul, per the last stand. Last time, we saw his tormented captivity, marked by a torn letter, regrets cry, bury my heart at wounded knee. Today, we witness their imagined dialogue, a battle of ideals, pride versus wisdom, conquest versus survival, per our what-if scenario. A war charm will spark questions, let's ignite the showdown. In the smoky Lakota tent, Custer sat, his shoulder bandaged, his pride battered, per speculative accounts. I pictured myself in the shadows, watching Sitting Bull, eyes like flint, enter with warriors at his side, bury my heart at wounded knee. Why do you hunt us? Sitting Bull asked, his voice steady, recounting broken treaties like Fort Laramie, per Philbrick. Custer, defiant, spat back, I serve progress. Yet his trembling hands betrayed doubt, per our narrative. Sitting Bull spoke of the land's spirit, the Sioux' fight for survival, per. Custer scoffed but faltered, haunted by 268 dead men, per the last stand. A warrior tossed a bone charm, carved with a buffalo, marked, spirit stand, at Custer's feet, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near the Little Bighorn camp, it stunned historians. A Lakota elder whispered, it challenged his heart. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about awakening. Could Sitting Bull's words pierce Custer's arrogance? What did Spirit Stand demand? Whose truth would prevail? Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of clash and conscience. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the shadowed confines of a Lakota camp, where in June 1876, General George Custer, still captive after Little Bighorn, wrestled with Sitting Bull's words, his pride clashing with glimmers of doubt, per the last stand. Last time, we witnessed their tense dialogue, marked by a war charm, spirit stand, bury my heart at wounded knee. Today, we explore Custer's reaction, teetering between defiance and awakening, as he faces his past and future, per our what-if scenario. A burned map will spark questions, let's probe his tormented heart. Days after the confrontation, Custer sat alone in the Lakota tent, his wound festering, his mind a battlefield, per speculative accounts. I imagined myself watching him, his once proud posture slumped, as Sitting Bull's words, about broken treaties and stolen lands, echoed, per Philbrick. He clutched the buffalo charm, muttering of duty to progress, yet flinched at memories of 268 dead men, per the last stand. Outside, Lakota warriors debated his fate, ransom or judgment, while Custer scrawled on a map, then burned it in frustration, per our narrative. The Sioux spoke of their fight for survival, per bury my heart at wounded knee, stirring questions in Custer's mind, was he the invader? I found charred map fragments, marked, Path of Ashes, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near the Little Bighorn camp, they stunned historians. A Cheyenne elder whispered, it burned his lies. In 2025, they rest in a tribal archive, raising questions about redemption. Would Custer embrace remorse or cling to conquest? What did Path of Ashes reveal? Whose truth would he accept? Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of guilt and grit. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the windswept plains beyond Little Bighorn, where in July 1876, General George Custer, spared by his Lakota captors, faced a choice, return to his world as a broken man or carry a new truth, per the last stand. Last time, we saw his inner turmoil after Sitting Bull's words, marked by a burned map, Path of Ashes, bury my heart at wounded knee. Today, we explore Custer's release, his struggle to redefine himself, and the impact on his legacy, per our what-if scenario. A tattered flag will spark questions, let's follow his uncertain steps. Days after the confrontation, the Lakota, under Sitting Bull's counsel, released Custer to General Terry's approaching forces, a gesture of mercy or strategy, per speculative accounts. I imagined myself watching Custer, his shoulder scarred, limping back to Fort Lincoln, greeted not as a hero but a ghost, per our narrative. His 268 dead haunted him, whispers of failure spread among soldiers, per Philbrick. In private, Custer spoke to his wife Libby of Sitting Bull's words, land, survival, broken promises, hinting at remorse, per bury my heart at wounded knee. Yet, in public, he defended progress, though his voice wavered, per. I found a tattered cavalry flag, stained with blood, marked, honor's ruin, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near Fort Lincoln, it stunned historians. A Lakota elder whispered, it carried his doubt. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about transformation. Could Custer become a voice for change? What did honor's ruin signify? Whose mercy reshaped him? Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of redemption and reckoning. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the echoes of Little Bighorn, where in 1876, a surviving George Custer carried the weight of defeat and Sitting Bull's wisdom into a world that judged him harshly, per The Last Stand. Last time, we saw his release and struggle for redemption, marked by a tattered flag, honor's ruin, per bury my heart at wounded knee. Today, we reflect on the reimagined legacy of Little Bighorn, contrasting with history's truth, per our what-if scenario. A sacred relic will spark questions, let's rewrite the past. By 1877, Custer, no longer a field commander, penned articles questioning U.S. policy on native lands, per speculative accounts. I pictured him in Washington, his words divisive, some called him a traitor, others a prophet, per our narrative. The Sioux faced relentless campaigns, Sitting Bull fled to Canada by 1877, per Philbrick, while Custer's writings stirred debate but changed little, per bury my heart at wounded knee. His survival reframed Little Bighorn as a native triumph, not a massacre, per. I found a beaded pouch, weaving symbols of pride's fall, regret's cry, spirit's stand, path of ashes, and honor's ruin, marked, unity's thread, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near Custer Hill, it stunned historians. A Cheyenne elder whispered, it bound their fates. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about legacy. Did Custer's survival shift history's lens? What did unity's thread connect? Whose story endured? Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of reimagined pasts. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the crossroads of history, where a surviving George Custer, touched by Sitting Bull's wisdom, stood trial in the court of time after Little Bighorn, per The Last Stand. Last time, we explored his reimagined legacy, marked by a beaded pouch, unity's thread, per bury my heart at wounded knee. Today, we conclude with questions of forgiveness, awakening, and whether Custer could become a symbol of reflection, per our what-if scenario. A final letter will spark questions, let's face history's judgment. In 1880, Custer, retired and shunned, lived quietly, his articles on native rights ignored by a nation hungry for expansion, per speculative accounts. I imagined him writing a final letter to Sitting Bull, now exiled, seeking forgiveness for his role in the Sioux's suffering, per our narrative. The U.S. crushed the Lakota by 1881, per Philbrick, but Custer's words echoed in small circles, per bury my heart at wounded knee. I found that letter, marked Truth's Plea, never sent, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 at Fort Lincoln, it stunned historians. A Lakota elder whispered, it sought peace too late. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about atonement. Could Custer have been a beacon of change? What did Truth's Plea confess? Whose forgiveness mattered? Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of what might have been.